Congressman, thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight. It's great talking to you.
Great to visit with you as well.
All right, so I got to ask you, what's your take on yesterday's House oversight hearings on Fast and Furious?
Say, the more that we dig into Fast and Furious, the more of a mess it really is. You want to talk about something that doesn't smell right. This absolutely does not pass the smell test. And the more we ask questions about it, the more they're all pointing the fingers at each other. And they're going to give each other up at some point because there were a lot of mistakes made here and a lot of things that just normal Americans would look at and say, that was a dumb idea.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, some of the testimony from the ATF agents yesterday, for folks who haven't been following this story, I mean, it must have sounded unbelievable when you had Agent James Dotson say, look, we were letting these guns go to Mexico. We never tried to stop them. What passed for surveillance was sometimes looking at the 4473s. And that was the plan. That was the design.
Yep.
I keep reading these news stories about how ATF lost firearms. No, they didn't lose firearms. They let them go.
They let them walk. They absolutely let them walk. And the issue is their plan for how they were going to track down crimes committed with these weapons that they knew were going into the hands of people that were illegal, that they knew were going to commit crimes. Their way of tracking those things were at the crime scene, they would match the serial numbers. Okay, that's got to be the worst plan ever, to put a gun in the hands of someone they know is going to commit a crime. And then when they get to the crime scene, they'll go, yes, this was one of our weapons. A very, very bad idea.
Absolutely. The testimony from the DOJ liaison, Ronald Weiss, he really was unable to say anything at all about this investigation.
Well, I think he was unwilling to say, because I think there are some things that are going to come out in the days to come dealing with DOJ. What we know is this. Ron Weiss sent us a letter in February and sent another letter in May saying it is false that these weapons were going into Mexico. We do not believe they were going there. That wasn't the intent. That's not what's going on. We have internal documents from ATF in January of this year saying that they knew these weapons were going into it. Part of my line of questioning into some of the agents over there from ATF that were basically saying they were very frustrated with what was going on, I asked them point blank, was there any other plan for surveillance on these, on tracking them? And they said yes. They had put one of them, they had actually put a GPS tracking device in, and it is now, they know, 50 miles south of the border in Mexico. So they've tracked one with GPS into Mexico that we're very aware of. The president in March said there were problems with Fast and Furious and there were mistakes that had been made. Mm-hmm. But in May, we're still getting information saying, no, it's false. This is not in Mexico. Someone is not telling us the truth. This story does not line up.
All right, let me ask you another question, too, because there have been reports from places outside of the jurisdiction of the Phoenix ATF office. For instance, there's a chain of gun stores in the Houston area, Carter's Country, and the store's attorney has said that something very similar happened there, where suspicious individuals came in. The sales staff didn't want to proceed with the sale, but the ATF officials that they contacted said, "Oh no, go ahead, let it happen." Are you concerned that this happened outside of the Phoenix field office and outside of the Fast and Furious investigation? Might there be other Fast and Furiouses out there?
Well, we hope not. We asked point blank yesterday multiple different agents and with DOJ and asking if there's any other office or any other agency that is doing this. They all said no. And I'll be very clear. Now, if they are trying to do some sort of sting to try to catch people that are, doing a lying and buying, coming through a gun store, that may be one thing. But if this is a large-scale plan, so far everyone under oath is telling us no. Obviously, we're going to continue to find out about that because this type of plan should not stand by any means. They should never let a gun walk with someone that they know is a criminal element on it. And the good thing is, part of the testimony that came out yesterday, some of the ATF agents were telling us that the gun owners or the stores did not like this plan in Phoenix, and they did not like cooperating with it because they don't like selling to illegal individuals.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
that's not normal for them. So they didn't like this plan at all either.
Yeah, and while this is taking place, we're seeing news stories pop up around the country blaming gun dealers for the violence in Mexico. Aided and abetted by statements by people like Felipe Calderon, the president of Mexico, who just last weekend said that U.S. firearms manufacturers are intentionally profiting off of the cartel violence in Mexico. That's the line we keep hearing from these folks. But the more you learn about Fast and Furious, the the more furious I get. I mean, when the emails were released yesterday showing that acting ATF Director Ken Melson was getting weekly briefings and had in fact asked for the IP address of one of the surveillance cameras so he could watch this footage.
Right.
I mean, we were told originally that all of this originated in Phoenix. This was all local, and that, you know, really the impression that I got certainly was that nobody in Washington was aware of this.
Correct. That's the impression that we were all given, and that we were all made all these clear statements saying that these are false, that these guns were never intended to go into Mexico, and we're not going that direction. That's why I say the more we dig in this, the worse it smells, and the more inconsistencies we really find in this. So we're going to continue digging. We're going to continue pushing oversight and government reform and the Judiciary Committee to be able to find out exactly what's going on, who was involved, because I can assure you there were many people in high-ranking places in Washington that had to know about this.
I don't know if you can say anything all about this, but, you know, yesterday's hearing focused on ATF DOJ, but I know that there have also been document requests made by the committee to the State Department. Are they cooperating with the document requests?
That I do not know yet.
Okay.
On that. We'll wait and see all those as they're coming back out. We just started all the subpoena process to start pulling these documents. I did ask point blank of DOJ yesterday, had we contacted the Mexican authorities and were we coordinating with them on that? And he was either unwilling or unable to be able to answer that question. But it makes it even worse if we're allowing, you know, guns to go out into the hands of illegals that we think are heading into Mexico if we weren't even coordinating with the Mexican government on this for the sting.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And this has become a major political issue in Mexico itself. You know, obviously, their press is covering this story very intensively.
Well,
and
as well they should. Yesterday during the testimony came out that if 3 of those guns went out into the open area, they suspected at least 2 of them were heading into Mexico.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Well, please keep up the great work that the committee is doing in investigating this, and I look forward to talking to you again as there more details get revealed.
Yeah, we look forward to finishing up this investigation, finding out exactly what happened, and then the appropriate action being taken on those individuals for making a very unwise choice.
Absolutely. Congressman, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Congressman James Lankford joining us from Oklahoma here on NRAnews.com and Sirius XM Patriot.